Kentucky's 2024-25 basketball team scrimmaged their alumni team. How'd it go? We're going to share our thoughts on today's episode of the Wildcats Today podcast. I'm your host, Andrew Stefaniak, writer and editor over at Wildcats Today, joined as always by my co-host and also writer at Wildcats Today, Carson Nash. And listen, Carson, here's the question. What's been going on, brother? I've been gone for a week. What's been going on?
It feels like a year, Andrew.
I know.
It feels like a year.
I haven't been on my cell phone in like 6 months. It feels like. I mean, it was crazy. I wasn't able to. I wasn't on my phone. It was really, really interesting. But we're back, baby, in the U.S. of A. It was a good trip. Glad to be back. Missed y'all. Missed doing this. I really did. I was sitting there, and I was like, and maybe this is sad, and maybe it's a good thing. Maybe it means I enjoy what I do for a living, but I was like, I want to go home and do a Wildcats Today podcast. I'm ready to go do a Wildcats Today podcast, and I wanted the cheeseburger. I don't know which order I'd put those in, but one or the other. Probably cheeseburger. I'm not going to lie to you. But,
yeah.
Carson.
Hey, Andrew, I'm with you, man. I've been missing out as much as you've been over in Espanol, in Spain. I've been here just waiting on the next Wildcats Today podcast. I've been missing out. I've been itching. I've been ready to get back. It feels good.
And we're back. Hey, babe, we're back. But so Carson, scrimmage yesterday. We've heard a lot of mixed reports. A report came out early this morning that I saw from someone that it sounds to be incorrect that said basically La Familia, ran the floor against our current team.
Yeah, it was Grant Peters. He tweeted that out. That was the first person I saw who tweeted it out.
I don't know who that is. Is that a media member?
Yeah, well, I think he's media. He's a well-known person in the BBN circle.
Okay, well, whatever. But then you said that KSR put out that it was the other way around. So Carson, share your information on this scrimmage. And then we obviously both watched film on the game, and we'll talk about what we saw because there's a lot to break down there too. But Carson, initial thoughts on this game and what you saw.
Yeah, well, I didn't really see much, but based on the highlights, it looked like it was very high tempo offense. We were getting shots off like none other. I mean, you see Carr hit 2 from way deep, and then Jaxson hit 4 in the highlights. So it was a lot of 3-point shooting. Amari Williams looked fantastic passing the ball. They're going to utilize that a lot. But some things I've heard, it sounds like Jaxson Robinson went crazy. There's been some rumors circulating. I've heard more than one person say this, that he hit 11 3-pointers in the scrimmage, which that's pretty good.
Very nice.
But I don't know if that's completely true or not. But I mean, we saw 4 in the highlight.
So he at least made 4.
Yeah. But I heard he played really good. Him and Andrew Carr have been the early stars on the team so far. They say you can see the upside in Brandon Garrison, but Amari Williams is more of their ride or die guy right now. Like he keeps the team together more. But Brandon also, he's having flashes. They say Colin Chandler's a little behind, which I mean, we all expected that.
You got to expect that.
Yeah, we expected that. I'm not worried about him in the slightest either. And one surprise, and me and you've been gone so long that we haven't gotten to actually we've done player previews, but we haven't been in the mix of everything. I think Lyon County has a good one because I've heard some phenomenal things about freshman Travis Perry.
Good.
And I'm pumped.
That'd be really cool if he ends up being awesome too. So who I have the name that I haven't heard said by you or anywhere on Twitter. And I want to ask your opinion on now. Brea and Lamont Butler didn't play.
They were out.
What have you heard anything about Otega?
I hadn't heard anything about Lamont, which neither of these concerns me much because I mean we're still getting going.
I'm not worried.
Kobe, I heard he had a lingering issue from Dayton. He had a foot injury or something like that, and that's still lingering. It's not that he can't practice because there is clips of him practicing. It's that they didn't want him to go full go in the scrimmage.
There's no reason to do that for him.
But Lamont, I haven't heard anything on.
No, I'm talking about I know they didn't play, but someone that I believe did play, and I haven't heard much about is Otega Owe. Did you hear anything positive?
Oh yeah, well they said that the two stars are Jaxson and Carr, but they said Otega is right behind them.
Good.
They said that he's been flashing, that they're saying he's a grown man basically because of his physicality when he drives through the lane. They're saying he just bullies people, which gets me really excited because having a 6'5" guard that's that quick and being able to bully people, that's awesome. It sounds like, who he kind of reminds me of? Kind of reminds me of a Cason Wallace. Okay. Just like maybe a little stronger than a Cason Wallace, but that kind of archetype where he can just kind of bully the little guard, kind of post him up and get to the rim pretty easily.
Yeah. I mean, watching the highlights and, talking to some people that I've talked to, what I loved to see was just how organized this team looked moving the basketball. Now, I want to repeat a word I used. Highlights. Okay? We're not talking lowlights. We're talking highlights. There were surely lowlights. Like you said, supposedly Carr turned the ball over a few times.
Just being out of control a little bit.
Yeah, and that's to be expected. Okay, what month is it? What is this? June, April, July? What month is this?
July,
right? It's July. I kind of knew that, but I'm gonna be honest with you. When I jokingly said it, I was like, wait, what month actually is it? Doesn't matter. So it's July. It is not November. It's not December. It's not March. Okay. I don't really care if there's a few things to tighten up.
Not even August.
Yeah. And I mean, I just think you can't have watched that highlight video and read reports that have come out and not be excited if you're a Kentucky fan. You can't not be excited about this team. They're playing without what we expect to be two starters. And, reports you won this game by, what was it, 17?
17, yeah.
And say what you can give me your opinion on this, Carson. Love Familia, this is a good team.
Well, I want to give you something they said about good old Eric Bledsoe. They said that he pretty much got everything he wanted. Because, you're missing Lamont, your centerpiece defensive guard. So Carr guarding Eric Bledsoe didn't work out so well.
Well, I wouldn't have bet on that going so well. But we're talking the Harrison twins, and we're talking Willie Cauley-Stein. Who else is on the team?
Willie Cauley-Stein. They got Daniel Orton, Kellen Grady.
Fuck Grady.
They coach Tyler Eulis. What?
Sestina.
They
Tyler
said
Eulis
he was good.
Playing or no? He's
the coach. He's a coach.
I thought so, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But this is just. I'm really impressed with this. What I'm saying is, these are grown men now at this point. These players, and they're a lot of them probably still playing overseas. Playing professional basketball. This is not grown-ups where they're, playing a scrimmage and it's just a whole bunch of dads playing pickup and pulling hammies. These are still professional athletes in their prime who were great players at Kentucky, years and years ago for some. This is a good win for this basketball team. And I know maybe we're overhyping it. We could be. You know what I mean? We could be overhyping this. But we should be, is what I'm saying. We could be, but we should be. Because this is a team of
July, and our team looks like a well-oiled machine passing the ball already. It's July. They said that Mark Pope was out there running inbounds plays.
Yeah. And this team is working hard. This team is studying and learning this playbook. If you're a Kentucky fan and you're not excited, shame on you after this. Really. That's just the reality here. And we really don't want to be sunshine pumpers here at Wildcats Today. That's not what we want. Like, we call it how it is. Like, we're going to start talking football soon. Carson, I'm going to be the most negative person in the world when we start talking football. And I hope I'm wrong, but we'll get there.
I'm definitely not going to be as positive as I am about basketball. It depends. It depends.
But you see what the reason I bring that up is because we're not just sitting here hyping things up, I'm not going to sit here and praise sunshine about this basketball team. About this football team. I'm not.
Yeah,
basketball
but we also have lower expectations for football
than basketball. Preseason,
Yes, we do.
preseason
Our
ranked team.
expectation in basketball is national championship. Our expectation in football is not national
Well,
championship.
I know, but I'm saying it's the new coach, and the expectations shouldn't be as high as they are this year for basketball. But I think they deserve to be as high as they are based on what Coach.
Well,
Pope's done.
like Coach Pope says, and he always says, it's Kentucky. That's
always that should be
the
exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. You're right about that. But this isn't the highlights I watched. Let me explain this way. This is how, for those that say, "Oh, here we go, Andrew's back from Spain. Carson's here. They're back to yapping about stuff. They're telling me how good this team's going to be, and they're not going to be that good." For those of you thinking that, shut up. I'm just kidding. But for those of you thinking that, I'm kidding. I'm joking. For those of you thinking that, here's my response to that. I think watching these highlights, this is my takeaway. And this is the kind of, if you want to be a not a super optimistic, but you kind of want to see a positive, there's a lot of bright spots to take away in July. And that's what gets me excited. When you see a veteran team that is clicking and playing together early, you're only going to go up. You know what I mean? You're not going to go down. You're not going to get less well-oiled and less, you're not going to less gel. And you know what I mean? Like this, you're just going to
get better too.
You're only going to get better.
Imagine when Colin Chandler has a couple months under his belt, or Brandon Garrison.
Yeah.
Like those guys that we're thinking are going to take a big step. Just imagine them mid-season.
Yeah. And so what I'm saying is from where we are today, July 18th, 2024, to where we're going to be when we get to the start of the season, when the end of October, early November comes around. When this stuff happens, I think this team's going to take a huge leap from what we saw yesterday to what we see in 3-4 months. They have the build to be special. And that's what you and I talk about all the time here, Carson. So I'm excited about it. Any other thoughts on the scrimmage before we talk a little recruiting?
Yeah, I will say this. I have heard, and this isn't necessarily a bad thing, but they have said that there's not as much NBA talent like there was at our practice.
But you're right. But I'll tell you this. I don't care. Who cares?
Yeah.
I don't care. I mean,
they say the same thing probably about UConn, like in their back-to-back championships.
Yeah. I mean, I know that, that's Stefan Castle kid in Klingon, but
they said, well, I mean, he's older now, but I mean, Jaxson Robinson's going to be pretty darn good.
Yeah. I don't care if these guys aren't, you know what I mean? I don't care if they don't play a minute of basketball after this year. This team, NBA talent in college basketball, some of the best college basketball players amount to nothing in the NBA. We see, now, obviously, because a lot of times the freshmen that are really good, but normally the freshmen that are really good are never the elite college basketball.
I'll give you an example of a player right now.
Give me one.
Hunter Dickinson.
Yeah. I mean, look at these. Look at the great college basketball players that you have in the SEC. And right there, Mark Sears, he'll never touch an NBA floor.
Walmart, Jalen Brunson.
Yeah, Janai Broome, you'll never see him touch the NBA floor. Hunter Dickinson, you'll never see him touch the floor in the NBA. And they're going to be great this year. All three of
great teams.
And that's what I'm saying. I don't care. I don't care if none of these guys, if they go play in Hungary or Turkey or Spain. I was just there. It's a great place to go play in Spain.
Let's preface that with saying we want the best for them. We want them to go to the NBA.
Yes, you know what I meant. Yes, I would love for every player on this team to be a lottery pick. Like, yes, it'd be really awesome. And I think that you're going to see a player surprise and be an NBA player. I'll tell you that. But what I'm saying is, I don't care for Kentucky basketball. I want the best for these kids. And remember this, you make hundreds of thousands of dollars playing basketball overseas, just for the record, although different currencies, but you get what I'm saying.
That's why you were overseas, right?
That bum knee. I had a scouting, meeting, but the bum knee, it's just, I'm going to get back healthy soon.
Yeah.
But That's my thoughts there is the NBA talent. I'm sorry. Yes, I'm rooting for these players. I'm wishing the best for them. I'm praying that they go pro and NBA pro, but I don't think you're going to see a lot of it. You're going to see a surprise. Maybe it's Carr, Robinson, Ortega, whoever it is, one of these guys. But you're not going to see a lot of these guys be NBA players, but you're going to see a lot of them have great years at Kentucky and then go on to potential careers in the NBA, and then if not, go make hundreds of $1,000s in the overseas.
The good thing about this team is it's all high character people. Mm-hmm. So it's not going to take them long, as you saw in the highlights, to gel because they all came in trying for one goal as a unit instead of for themselves.
Yeah,
because they know if as a unit they can reach the national championship, then their stock's only going to go up.
Yeah. So my last point I want to make here that's our scrimmage talk. We're going to talk recruiting, but Carson, I want to say one name to you, and I'm going to let you go on a little rant. Reed Sheppard, go ahead.
Oh yeah, I was going to get to it at some point. Oh my goodness, it is unreal. I'm changing my rookie of the year pick already. I had Rob, but I got to go Reed. Yeah. He looks like a man amongst boys in the NBA Summer League. He shouldn't be playing, I don't think. I think they should rest him.
I wonder if they're going to shut him down because he's supposed to play tonight. I'm actually anxious to watch that game, but I wonder
his efficiency is like the same as it was at Kentucky. He's still making impacts on the defensive end. It's like watching Kentucky Reed, but just in the NBA. Yeah. I mean, how good is Reed Sheppard? Answer me that question. How good is he?
Now, you got to remember, if you want me to say something like, let's calm it down, and I don't want to, but it is Summer League. These are not the NBA players. He's not guarding, Curry and Damian Lillard, and he's not getting switched on by a 6'11" two guard. This. But still, while that both can be true, that he, in my opinion, has been one of the best players in the NBA Summer League, if not the best player. He's averaging right now 20 points a contest, 4.7 rebounds and assists, both 4.7, 3 steals, and shooting 49% from the field. Can you ask for anything else?
Compare that to every other rookie.
Yeah. You see Alex Sarr went over 15?
Yeah.
I don't want to be the guy. We call this in my house chips. We told you about chips, right, Carson? Mm-mm. Chips.
I don't think so.
I'll let y'all. I'm gonna let everybody in on a really good saying to keep around your house, and you can thank us here at Wildcats Today for this one. Mike and Cameron, our buddies, my roommates, came up with this one. And it's when you're watching golf and you're like, I'd have made that putt.
Oh
but then you're laying on the couch with Cheeto dust on your chest. You know what I mean? We call that. So whenever one of us is like, I'd have made that jump shot, we look at each other and we just go, chips. So that's one for y'all to take home. But I think I could have made a jump shot and gone 1 for 15, unlike Alex Sarr. I know chips. You can go ahead and comment it, but I'm just telling you. But Reed Sheppard, and nothing could make Kentucky fans, all y'all listeners, us happier. So happy for Reed Sheppard. So proud of him.
It's fantastic.
Yeah. But Carson, you got some recruiting dino nuggets for us. Anything you want to toss out?
Well, what do you want first? The good news or the bad news?
I didn't know there was bad news. You didn't tell me about the bad news.
It's not bad news, but it's probably
the bad news. Give me, or do a compliment sandwich. Do something good, something bad, something good, or do the bad news first, then the good news.
I'll just get the bad news out of the way.
All right.
So, unfortunately, I'm thinking it's looking more and more like Jasper Johnson is leaning towards Alabama at the moment.
Alabama?
Yeah. It's kind of surprising.
I've been out of town, folks, by the way, so I've been a little out of tune with the recruiting. But where are you seeing that? Is it Jimmy Shaw?
Tipton has been he interviewed him, and he thinks it's down. He thinks it's down to 3 teams, but he actually thinks Kentucky's in 3rd right now, behind Alabama and North Carolina. But I mean, you always got to think. Like I said with Brea, remember you were like, Brea's not even considering Kentucky, and then on the Monday he commits to Kentucky. But I think recruiting is fluid, and Jasper is a Lexington native, so you really never know.
Okay, for those of you who here you go, Carson. You ready? For those that say we're a little too positive, I'm gonna get a little negative for you, just to make everybody happy. once again, I already love Coach Pope so much, and I'm so excited about his tenure here at Kentucky. You can't miss on this kid. You can not miss on this kid. And I'm not gonna punch a wall that hard if he goes to Alabama or you said North Carolina. But here's the deal. Now, I've talked about you recruit players. Recruiting is building relationships. Mark Pope is really good at it. He's proven that already. Talking, we've heard recruits talk about it. He is a great builder of relationships, which is what recruiting is. Now, I've got to add the caveat that he was a little behind on this. He got to Kentucky. I mean, Jasper's probably going to commit here in the next few months. Coach Pope will have had probably 5, 6, 7 months to make a run at him, while other coaches have had years, 2 or 3 years to build this relationship. And Coach Pope wasn't recruiting Jasper Johnson out of BYU to where there's a built over relationship. So the point here is this: he is behind, and that's hard on Coach Pope. So I'm not going to be fully now. If Jasper Johnson was a 2026 class member, it'd be a different conversation for me.
Even 2025. Or I guess he is 2025.
No, he is 25. No,
in my eyes, if his grandfather, his father, have both played athletic sports at UK, you gotta get him. That's like me not going to UK, or I don't know. It's like a hometown person not choosing Kentucky.
Yeah. Okay, you almost went to South Carolina now, so I don't want to hear a peep out of you. They have a great sports whatever program. You know how much you would have been rooting for UK living in Columbia.
Oh, I know. Well, when you love something, you compare everything else to it.
That's what kept you at home. I know. But I remember that you were like, I remember you told me I'm thinking about going to South Carolina. I'm like, what? You're like Mr. Kentucky Athletics. You'd have a stroke down there. I was like, what? But no,
it's a fun time down there, though.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. But no, so do you see what I'm saying, there, Carson? If you miss on him this year, I get it more than if it was in 2031 or even 2026. In 2026, if you miss on Jasper Johnson, I'm saying if he was in that class, and had a year and a half to recruit him, it would be a huge deal. If you miss on him this year, when he's got some other options, a hot Alabama team with a hot coach and Oates who's doing well and recruiting well, or North Carolina.
I never knew you thought Oates was attractive.
Okay. That was good. That was pretty good. That was a good one. But you see what I'm saying here? I'm not going to be as mad if we miss on him this year than if we missed on him next year. That's my point. I'm still going to be upset, but you can't miss on these kids. And now you got to go one for 2 with Moreno or Jasper Johnson. You cannot go 0 for 2. I think we're going to get Moreno. I feel
that's confident. Where the good news comes in.
Oh,
you never asked about the good news.
Is the good news Moreno?
Travis Branham. Who's basically like the new Evan Daniels of when he says something, it's kind of sign it off.
Yeah.
He said he would be shocked if Moreno doesn't pick UK.
I think Moreno ends up at UK as well. He scheduled a whole bunch of visits, the final of which being to Kentucky. I have a feeling he'll go on those visits. He's going to get his free cookie cakes and hotels. And
it's a perfect idea. If you're a recruit, that's what you do.
Yeah, you get to go
the best one for last, but you go through all of them.
Have a great time. You 5 cookie cakes if you go do that. It's 5 cookie cakes. You know what I would do for 5 cookie cakes right now? But you do all that, and then he's going to come to Kentucky on October 11th, and I bet he commits within a week of that visit. I feel confident saying that. October 11th is his visit. I bet he commits within a week of that visit. That's my guess right now.
Guarantee you.
And then any other comment, Carson, on the kid, where's he from, that could potentially reclass to 2024?
Julius Malafuna, and I'm maybe just butchering that.
Not maybe. I'm going to say probably to definitely are. But we'll roll with it.
He's a big man. He's a big man from I think Turkey. He's from
New Zealand. He's from
New Zealand. That's what it is. New Zealand. I got it mixed up.
Doesn't he play in Turkey? I think he plays in Turkey.
You could be right. I know I got it from somewhere. I just don't know where I'm getting it from.
Well, you wrote an article about him, so
he's a 2025 recruit right now. But he's a top 35 player. He's a number 3 overall center. He actually is considering reclassing, and UK has made contact with him. So maybe in the future weeks, shortly, we'll hear something about him because we still have to fill that last roster spot.
Yeah, we still do. Okay, it says New Zealand in your article, which is where he's from, but I think he plays somewhere else. You know what I mean? Or he's from New Zealand. That's where he's from.
Yeah.
But I like the tape on him. I like what I've seen. I think he's a good player. You never want to turn down a 7-footer.
No.
So especially to be a guy who's your 13th player.
And I would recommend going to watch highlights on this guy because he's one of the bigs that he's like a Jokic. He can play at the top of the key and be fine because he has good enough handles and he can spread the floor well enough to where he can stay outside. And with Pope's offense, that's going to be lethal.
That's exactly what I was going to say. It's perfect for Coach Pope's offense. There's a lot of exciting stuff going on with recruiting. So we will keep y'all updated on that. Carson, any other thoughts before we call it? What is it, Thursday? I guess it's Thursday before we call it a week here locked on.
Man,
it feels like a Tuesday.
You're just all over the place today.
I'm trying to get locked back in. You know what I mean? When you're gone for 9 days, it's hard to get locked back in. I wasn't on my phone. I had to sleep in a tent for 3 days. It was hectic. It was really quite hectic.
Too many cold snacks on the boat.
Yeah, I fell over onto a tent.
Cut your hand open.
Yeah, cut my hand open on a tent. Sprites will do that to you. But any other thoughts, Carson, before we call it a week here at Wildcats Today?
No, that's all I got. Feels good to be back. I've been missing it. Been bored.
Likewise, brother. Well, on Tuesday, hopefully we'll have some kind of recruiting news to talk about. We'll see. Maybe we'll get back to some player previews. We'll figure that out when we get there.
I'm going to convince Andrew to start talking about football soon. So keep your ears open because we might have some football news coming to you.
If you want to hear about football, comment. I want to hear about football. Let's see. We'll start talking about football.
Well, it also show our true listeners too because it's at the very end of the video. So
that is true. That's a good point. True fans, real fans. And then once again, speaking of which, I think we're 3 subscribers away from 1,600. So we're getting to that 2,000, and once again, 2,000 equals giant slip and slide party at Carson's house. So
probably the worst day in Jeff Nash's history.
Yeah, he's not. That's going to be a spectacle, no question there. So hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. We really, really appreciate y'all. Good to be back. We'll have something great for you on Tuesday. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Have a great weekend, and we will see y'all next time.